俺はここに来て毎日思う。なんでこんなことになったんだろうって。心も体も蝕まれ、徹底的に自由を奪われ、自分自身も失う。こんなことになるなんて知っていれば、誰も戦場なんか行かないだろう。でも、みんな何かに背中を押されて、地獄に足を突っ込むんだ。大抵その何かは自分の意志じゃない。他人や環境に強制されて仕方なくだ。ただし、自分で自分の背中を押した奴の見る地獄は別だ。その地獄の先にある何かを見ている。それは希望かもしれないし、さらなる地獄かもしれない。それは、進み続けた者にしかわからない。
What keeps a man moving forward? That is the question Eren Jaeger asked Falco. What is that something that pushes a man onward despite the hell or war coming for them? Is it external factors such as our environment or something personal? In this video, I would like to discuss this theme that is not focused on Attack on Titan. Most character analysis videos focus on Eren's deterministic fate. Still, I would like to express through this video essay that in my opinion, the story of Attack on Titan is not about determinism or free will. Attack on Titan is a story about resolve, and how the title Shingeki no Kyojin even connects to the theme of advancing or moving forward. I am the unofficial psychologist, and we will deep dive into Eren Jaeger's character and compare him to the character that he was inspired by, Takeru Shirogane of the Muv Luv series. Before I proceed, here's a big spoiler warning for those who haven't read the entirety of the manga of Attack on Titan and played the game Muv Luv and Muv Luv Alternative. So, if you are not bothered by spoilers and are traumatized by endings like me, let's move on to the video. Part 1. Isayama and Muv Luv. Isayama is a big Muv Luv fanboy. He has admitted that he ripped off Muv Luv Alternative, and it's one of his biggest influences. Isayama said that he felt that the author of Muv Luv Alternative was out there to kill him, that it had an aggressive approach. He even left a message on the 20th anniversary of Odge, the developer of Muv Luv, that the game was why he started writing Attack on Titan. In his message, he even said that scene with Marimo was very shocking to him, that he played the game for a day straight before he finally ate food. Given that the ending of Attack on Titan has caused a massive divide in the fandom, and personally, it had a lasting traumatic impact on me, I wanted to understand what Isayama felt when he played Muv Luv Alternative. I tried to understand his motives when he said in an interview that he intended to betray his readers. 2 games and 160 hours later, I was not disappointed. I felt like Isayama and I had an understanding. I got to empathize with what he felt when he played the game, and at the same time, I also got to see his perspective as a writer and why he created the manga that I love and hate. Part 2. Eren Jaeger and Takeru Shirogane. The journey of Takeru started in a game called Muv Luv. It's a 2-in-1 visual novel that began as a rom-com dating sim called Muv Luv Extra, where the main plot is about him choosing between his childhood friend Sumika and an heiress to a large conglomerate, Mia. The surprise in this game is the second visual novel, which is Muv Luv Unlimited. Takeru transported to another world where the Beta, or beings of extraterrestrial origin which is adversary to the human race, exists. In a post-apocalyptic Japan, he must train as an elite pilot of a mecha called TSF or Tactical Surface Fighters. In his journey in Unlimited, he learned to grow as a character from a wimpy gamer guy in Extra. He learned to make friends, trust his comrades, and discover his purpose as to why that world called him. But his journey was cut short because Alternative 5, one of the plans against the Beta, was expedited, where a small portion of humanity evacuated to a nearby planet. Part of the plan to get rid of the Betas was to bomb the hives with G-bombs. Still, that plan failed, and the game ended with Takeru achieving nothing against the Beta. The sequel to Muv Luv, called Muv Luv Alternative, was released 3 years later to the surprise of everybody. Takeru again was sent to the beginning of Muv Luv Unlimited. This time, he is aware of Alternative 5 and vows to destroy the Beta by completing Alternative 4. But his journey was not an easy one. He struggled and took many losses before he finally succeeded. He must learn the hard way that defeating the Beta requires unrelenting resolve and willingness to sacrifice something to achieve his goals. He had to experience a coup d'etat, post-traumatic stress disorder from losing his beloved mentor, and seeing his comrades and lover Sumika get killed in the fight against the Beta. In summary, the Muv Luv trilogy's story initially presents itself as a light-hearted romantic comedy, but changes into an alternate timeline coming-of-age story, and finally evolves into an alien invasion war epic. It's a story of how a boy finally becomes a man. Eren Jaeger has a similar character journey, albeit with a different setting and context. Firstly, both live in a cruel world where it's kill or be killed. Eren lives in a world where the Titan threatens his freedom, and Takeru in a world where Beta exists and is out to eradicate all humanity. Next is that both are born or called into this world. One of the themes of Muv Luv Unlimited is Takeru finding his purpose in that post-apocalyptic world, but his journey was cut short because of Alternative 5 plan. In Muv Luv Alternative, he finally found his purpose and reason to fight. On the other hand, Eren is conflicted about his existence. We saw the culmination of that struggle at the Race Cave. He finally understood what it means to be special when he heard from Shadis, his mother's words, that he doesn't need to be special because he was already born into this world, a philosophy he carried on in the later parts of the story. The third similarity is that both lost someone dear to them. Takeru lost his beloved mentor twice, which wrecked his psyche and he developed PTSD. After that event, he also lost his comrades and his lover Sumika in the fight against the Beta. Eren lost his mother Carla and Hannes from the Smiling Titan, which we found later was his father's first wife Dina. It also caused a psychological toll on Eren, which made him vengeful against the Titan and later the enemies. The fourth and fifth similarity is that both wanted to eradicate the threat in their world and develop a firm resolve. Both Eren and Takeru desire to eliminate the threat to their life. For Takeru, it's the Betas. For Eren, it is the Titans. Through their experience of loss, they develop a resolve to reach their goals. Takeru took 2 games before he finally had formidable resolve. On the other hand, Eren initially had his resolve but lost it in the end. We will talk more about this later in the video. Lastly, both have their initial goals changed after a life-changing event. Takeru's initial goal was to eradicate the Betas by completing Alternative 5. After the death of his mentor, he developed PTSD and tried to escape by transporting back to his original extra world. But he didn't stay there for long because causal information or events from the alternative world leak into the extra world. So he had to experience losing his mentor twice. And so he returned to the alternative world and formed his new goal. Eradicating the Betas is still one of his goals, but his main priority now is to restore the world he messed up and to get rid of whatever caused him to be the causality conductor. On the other hand, Eren's initial goal was to kill all the Titans, but now he vows to destroy his enemies beyond the island. These are all external goals that the protagonists of the series need to achieve at the end of the story. But now, we will tackle more on their character journey. Part 3. Takeru's Character Journey. How a Boy Becomes a Man. Takeru's overall character journey was a long and arduous one. He suddenly woke up in a world where betas invaded the Earth and learned that he is the causality conductor, which is that his life repeats every time he dies, and every time Takeru dies, he has vague memories of what happened in his past life. If you consider the extra and unlimited routes as one of the timelines Takeru lived, you can say that he needed to repeat his life a total of 12 times before finally reaching the final 13th loop. In this section, I wanted to emphasize his character journey in Alternative. At the start of Alternative, his primary goal was to eradicate the betas and complete Alternative 4 as fast as possible. However, he first faced the obstacle of human versus human conflict to achieve his goal. You see, besides the external threat of the betas, Muv Luv Alternative also dealt with politics in the post-apocalyptic setting. One of the arcs in the visual novel is about the coup d'etat of a faction of the Imperial Japanese forces. In this arc, Takeru's squad is to rescue and protect the shogun of the Japanese Empire, and this causes conflict between the United Nations forces, the branch he is in, and the Imperial Japanese forces. Takeru was conflicted because he had to deal with Japan's internal affairs when the more significant threat was the betas. This situation tested his character when he was to administer a sleep drug called triazolam to the shogun. As a result, he hesitated to act on command. His encounter with the shogun was one of the vital character moments where Takeru learned that his goal of fighting against the beta alone would not cut out if he were to achieve it. He needs to develop a conviction, some reason to fight. These are the things the shogun said to him that resonated in him until the end of the story.
人の上に立つということは、多くの責任を背負い、多くの決断を下さねばならぬということです。国家や組織は、そのよって立つところが違えば、おのおのに理想や信念が異なるもの。それは人も同じです。何かなそうとすれば、必ずそれを良しとする者と悪しとする者がいるでしょう。されど、それぞれの立場に立って、物を見ることができれば、おのおのがよりどころとする正しさも見えてきましょう。そして、悲しいことですが、それらすべての者たちの望みを満たす道が、常にそなたの前にあるとは限りません。その時そなたは、何によって決断し、どのような道をかの者たちに指し示すのか。その時、もしそなたに迷いがあったなら、原点を顧みること、立ち止まる勇気を持つのです。そして、自らの手を汚すことを厭うてはならないのです。道を指し示そうとする者は、背負うべき責務の重さから目を背けてはならないのです。私はあの時、流れに身を委ねたわけでも、己が死をもって責任を果たそうとしたわけでもありません。私が信ずる正しさに従い、トリアゾラムの投与が最良と判断したのです。
Takeru's character growth doesn't stop after the coup d'etat arc. That was only the beginning. The next arc was the lowest moment, the XM3 Trials arc. Takeru is successful in conceptualizing a software for the TSFs, and he also successfully helped the completion of Alternative 4 by transporting to his original world, the extra timeline. One day, in their TSF training at their base, a horde of betas attacked, and one of the casualties was his mentor, Marimo. Her death caused him extreme trauma, and he was diagnosed with complex PTSD. Unable to handle his trauma and guilt, he decided to escape temporarily to his original world. Still, it was short-lived because the alternative world events started leaking. He lost his beloved mentor twice now, and not only that, but his childhood friend Sumika, whom he neglected in the past game, was also affected by this causality leak. He learned that he is the causality conductor, a pipeline between worlds, and the alternative world was the world that caused him to be the causality conductor. Because of this incident, Takeru regained his will to fight. He even created a new goal for himself. He was already successful in helping complete Alternative 4. His new goal now is for him to find what caused him to be the causality conductor. Upon coming back to the alternative world, this is where Takeru's character develops from being a cowardly boy to a man with unrelenting resolve. Takeru's task is tuning Unit 00, a non-carbon-based machine that happened to be in the physical form of his childhood friend and lover Sumika. Takeru needs to make difficult decisions, which is for him to restore Unit 00's personality. If he wants to live and know what caused him to be the causality conductor, he must face the truth that his childhood friend is now Unit 00. Unit 00, formerly Sumika, was also profoundly traumatized by what the beta did to her. It's Takeru's job to be her therapist for Unit 00 to function and be used on the battlefield fully. He also learned some dirty truths about the alternative plans and his mentor's death, which he must face head-on to reach the desired results. After Takeru successfully fine-tuned Unit 00, his squad is off to their first official mission against the beta, Operation 21 or the battle at Sadogashina. On their way to their mission, Takeru was then again reminded about his convictions. His superior, Captain Izumi, asked him what exactly is he fighting for. He answered he wanted to take back what he had lost. In their conversation, Izumi mentioned the survey conducted on the soldiers about their mentality. The question asked to the veteran was, what are they fighting for? It was not the ideological and noble reasons, such as to protect the earth and humanity or their country, but the thread was it was more personal and concrete reason. They fight for their comrades, and the second reason is they fight out of fear of the enemy. Those who answered the romantic and noble reasons were those soldiers about to be deployed or their families that sent them off. Those with experience on the battlefield based their motivation to fight on those near them, which are their comrades at arms. Their bond in enduring the battles and hardships gives them a reason to fight to their last breath. Captain Izumi is convinced that Takeru already has a personal, concrete reason to fight. Takeru already has an ultimate long-term goal to find out what caused him to be the causality conductor and to restore the worlds he messed up. He also has a personal, tangible goal of protecting Sumika to keep him motivated and push forward. These two primary reasons are why he was able to face the obstacles in the next arc and fight the betas to achieve their mission. In the last arc, they were deployed in a suicide mission to infiltrate the first beta hive at Kashgar. Most of his squad mates had already sacrificed their lives unbeknownst to him to keep him focused on their mission. Takeru had one final choice, to fire the final cannon at their objective, but at the cost of his comrade Maya. It was again a test of his convictions. He cannot afford to die to repeat the same events from the beginning. The final message of Maya convinced him to pull the trigger.
Maya! 影として影としての生を受けた私がかような死に場所を得ることを認 2年生ぐらい栄誉だ。今ここで果てるに何の迷いがあろう。ただ一つだけこの世に未練があるのだ。
未練。
お願いだ、タケル。まばの際のわがまま、どうか聞き入れてくれ。
えや。
せめて最後は愛する者の手で。そなたに打たれて行きたいのだ。私の生涯はたとえ影としてのせいでしかなかったとしても、そなたが生き続け、私という人間が存在したことを、三剣名也がこの世にあったことを覚えていてくれさえすれば、私は幸せなのだ。墓まで持っていくつもりだったのに、私の要素許す鏡。
悲しいことです。すべての者たちの望みを満たす道が常にそなたの前にあるとは限りません。道を指し示そうとする者は背負うべき責務がなさ目を背けてはならないのです。そして自らの手を汚すことを厭うてはならないのです。
私を奴らの慰み者にするでない。お願い。
In the end, Takeru's squad succeeded in their mission, but at the cost of the lives of most of his comrades. They have saved the Earth from the betas. But one final truth Takeru must accept is that the cause of him being the causality conductor was Sumika. Her wish to see him again caused him to reset and live his life again and again every time he failed to reach her. Ultimately, Takeru granted her wish, but she died during the mission. Takeru was no longer the causality conductor. He restored the order in the multiverse and could permanently return to his original world. In summary, for Takeru to grow from a cowardly boy to a man with unrelenting resolve, he first needed to learn to have conviction. His encounter with the shogun taught him that his path was never easy and that he must shoulder the weight of responsibility and must not hesitate to bloody his own hands. He needs to make difficult choices and accept the results of his choices. His captain's words about his reason to fight solidify his resolve that he must not only have an ultimate long-term goal, but he needs a personal, tangible goal, something or someone to help him move forward. Takeru completed his character arc, but his counterpart, Eren, however, did not, which is one clear difference between the two protagonists. In the next section, we will now analyze Eren's character arc. Part 4. Eren's character journey. The boy who sought freedom but failed. Eren has always been the boy who's never content in living inside the walls. He has an unquenchable desire for something, for freedom. It is something he seeks, but he can't attain. But what is freedom anyway? The theme of freedom is one of the most argued about in the community. Most of the points were on whether Eren was a slave to freedom, that Eren's destiny is sealed and is fated, like his choices don't matter. I would like to disagree respectfully. I believe Isayama already defined what freedom is. Let's look at the chapter where the characters discuss the theme of freedom. Chapter 112, Ignorance. Yes, the infamous stable scene. The chapter where his friends questioned Eren's motivations and intentions. I wrote an analysis about freedom on the ANRMA subreddit and would like to get excerpts from what I wrote. My essential thesis is that freedom is not about determinism nor free will, but what freedom is not being ignorant. Eren Jaeger in the manga specifically said it himself. There is nothing removed from freedom than ignorance, a line removed from the anime. We see that definition of freedom from the very start of the manga. Isayama established on the very first page of the story's first chapter that Eren and the people of Paradise are not free, that they lived like a captive in a birdcage. The first chapter showed us how transient living inside the walls is. Their peaceful lives inside the walls were just an illusion. They thought they were safe, but still lived in fear of the Titans. Eren hated being ignorant. For him, being ignorant means living content like caged birds. That's the primary reason why he wanted to join the Survey Corps. He wanted to go beyond the walls and not live in naivety. Going back to chapter 112, what Eren hates the most are people who are not free. And who are the people that are not free? People that remained ignorant and lived like livestock waiting for slaughter. The story of Attack on Titan is like a mystery box. The story is structured so that we, the audience, become knowledgeable about the world's truth over time. Throughout the story, we have uncovered that humans can be Titan shifters and that mindless Titans are human beings. Their enemies are also Titan shifters and want Eren's coordinate powers, and that the true king of the walls is the Race family, and they hold the coordinate. As we see throughout the series, we are gaining knowledge. We are becoming not ignorant. Finally, we reach the ultimate truth about the world of AOT, which is the secret of the basement. We learn that humanity exists beyond the walls and that life beyond the ocean is cruel. But at what cost did it take for the Survey Corps to reach the basement? It took the lives of hundreds of Survey Corps members, even Commander Erwin's life, to unveil the truth. In Grisha's flashback, we also learned about Eren Kruger, the owl, and why Grisha is chosen. It was not because he hated Marley as we thought, but Kruger chose Grisha to be the next Attack Titan because he went past the wall with his sister. He chose to go beyond the walls of Liberio. Grisha would have preferred a peaceful life inside the walls, ignorant of where the airships land, but Grisha brought his sister to see them. But what were the cost of him and his sister going beyond the wall? It cost his sister's life. Kruger also has an intriguing past. His family were members of an insurgent group of the royal family. He saw his family burnt alive. He was just a powerless kid back then, but chose to go beyond the walls of Liberio and live his life as a spy, pretending to be a Marleyan so he could take revenge against them. But what was the cost of him living as a spy for the Eldians? It cost the fingers of thousands of subjects of Ymir. It cost 1,000 Eldian lives to turn into titans to serve Eldia. So what is my point about the theme of freedom? Eren could have enjoyed his life inside the wall, but he wasn't content. He doesn't want to be ignorant. He chose to go beyond the wall. Kruger could have not chosen to get revenge for his family, but chose to go beyond the wall and live as a spy for the Restorationists. Grisha could have a peaceful life inside the walls of Liberio and inherit his father's clinic and practice medicine. Faye would have been alive and be a mother. Still, he chose to go beyond the walls and see where the airship landed with his sister. Without him going beyond the walls, Grisha would not have been a Restorationist. He would not have met Dina. Zeke would not have been born, but he went past the wall. He doesn't want to live ignorantly. My point is that if you want to be free and not ignorant, you must go past the walls. You must keep moving forward beyond the metaphorical walls preventing you from gaining knowledge. But it has a cost if you want to be free and gain knowledge. And the price of choosing to go beyond the walls is suffering. It is accepting the consequences that results from your choice. Kruger tortured and sent a lot of Eldians to paradise. Grisha lost Faye, Dina, and Zeke. Eren has the Survey Corps' lives on his back because they choose to believe in him. That's why the name of their titan is the titan that fought for freedom, the titan that kept moving forward. Shingeki no Kyojin, or in its literal translation, the Advancing Titan. Eren's journey towards seeking freedom doesn't stop upon reaching what is beyond the walls. With the burden of knowledge Eren has gained through his father's memories, upon knowing the cruel truth of the world he lives in, he needs now to go beyond the ocean. Eren's goal has now changed, from him wanting to destroy all titans to him wanting to destroy all enemies. In the story's final saga, Eren has become the mystery box. We don't know where Eren is or what he plans to do at the start of the Marley arc. We are only shown a new perspective through the eyes of the Eldians in Liberio. Chapter 97 revealed that Eren is in a hospital in Liberio. In the story, he went beyond the ocean and lived with the Eldians and Marleyans on the continent. And this goes back to my thesis at the start of the video. What keeps a man moving forward? Eren posed this question to Falco. Now that Eren has seen the other side of the ocean, has experienced the horrors of war, and even pretended to have PTSD, he pondered, what keeps a man going? What keeps a man living despite the hell they are walking? Most of them unwilling to walk into it because of their environment. But to him, those people who push themselves see something beyond hell. In the manga, he wasn't sure if they see hell or hope, but he's convinced that those who keep moving forward will know what's beyond hell. So, what keeps a man moving forward? To answer this question, let's look at the scene where Eren asks Reiner why he breached the walls. In this scene, Eren indirectly tries to answer the question he posed to Falco. He was about to commit a full-on solo terrorist attack on Marley. He wants to confront the man who killed his mom, who destroyed his home, who made him grow his rage against the Titans. What was the reason he killed his mom? Reiner said their mission was to break the walls and see how the King of the Walls would react, to which Eren concluded that Reiner had no choice. It was their environment that led Reiner to destroy the walls that day, that it was his upbringing, that he had no say because he was still a kid. But Reiner broke down and revealed to Eren that they were supposed to fall back from the mission, but it was Reiner's choice to move forward with the plan. He pushed forward because he wanted to become a hero and be respected. Reiner has a personal goal other than the mission. Reiner cannot take the guilt he feels because of his choice and wants to die. Willie Tiber's words, "I was born into this world," reminded Eren of his mission on Liberio. And as Eren witnessed Reiner's breakdown, he realized he was the same as Reiner. Eren too was put into a situation where he had no choice but to attack Marley. His environment pushed him to do the atrocities he did in Liberio, the same as Reiner did 9 years ago in his hometown. But him misunderstanding what transpired here led to his downfall later when he activated the Rumding.
If you have been listening carefully, the answer to what keeps a man moving forward are the following. 1. Accepting the responsibility and results of his choices. And 2. Having a personal and tangible goal besides a long-term goal. For Eren as the Attack Titan, what he needs to do to advance is to develop these two character traits. And if you have caught on to what I have been telling you, yes, Takeru and Eren have the same character journey. Now, why did Eren fail and Takeru succeed? Let's now discuss Eren's character flaw. Attack on Titan's story is all about choices. It's not about making the right choice, but it's all about acceptance of the choices you have made. The first flaw of Eren's character is that he cannot trust himself to accept the consequences of his choices and entrust everything to his comrades. The first example I could think of is when Eren first transformed into a Titan. The garrison demanded Eren to answer whether he was a man or Titan. He already devised a plan to escape and find the basement, but recognized it's reckless. So he has another idea. He trusted Armin to convince the garrison that he is not a threat. The result was that Armin wasn't the one who convinced the garrison, but it was Commander Pixis. The second example was the female Titan chase scene, where Levi gave him a choice, to trust his squadmates or choose to trust his strength and fight the female Titan. Levi never knew what the right choice was and what the outcome would be. All he advised Eren was to make the choice he regretted the least. His reasoning for choosing to trust his comrades was that it was the easier path, because Eren wanted something new to rely on, something to believe in, like believing in his friends. And due to his choices, his comrades from Squad Levi died, which he admittedly said was the wrong choice. But the point here is that it was never what is the right or wrong choice. It was accepting the choice he made and moving forward. Eren regrets his actions, so instead of being able to defeat the enemy, he loses to her. He was so angry that it blinded him to what he needed to do, to fight her strategically. In their round 2 fight in the manga, Eren had a hard time accepting the truth that one of his friends was a female Titan. He cannot transform because he lacks a concrete goal. In the end, it was Mikasa's words that motivated him to transform into his Titan form. She said that she fights because she had no choice and that the world is cruel. In the royal government arc, Eren learned to trust more in himself. At his lowest moment, he realized that he wasn't special, that he never needed to happen, and that his father killed the Rey's family, and that if it weren't for his father's actions, many of his comrades would still be alive. He felt extreme guilt for the lives lost due to his father's choice, but Historia saved him. She told him that she might be humanity's enemy, but she will be always Eren's ally. She said that if anyone felt not needed, she was there to tell them it wasn't true. The worst girl in the world saved Eren. It was one of the reasons why he was able to believe in himself and save his friends from the collapsing cave. In the aftermath of the uprising, Eren visits Shadis, a man from his father's memories. Through his meeting with Shadis, he overcame his inferiority complex of not being born special. When Shadis relayed what Eren's mother told him, Eren doesn't need to be special. He is already special because he was born into this world. And that's what kept him going in the Return to Shiganshina arc. After they learned the truth about the world, Eren started to change according to his friends. Eren began doing things alone, but through the flashbacks, we know that he started to do things alone because of his comrades in action. They ran out of time and proposed no alternate solution to save their island and prevent Historia from being sacrificed. He went on a rogue mission in Marley and abandoned his friends for a while, but he still trusts them to come to his rescue when he raided Liberio. At this moment, Eren had already crossed the line when he terrorized Liberio, the same way Reiner, Bert, and Annie did 9 years ago. He has more blood of innocent people in his hands than ever before. When the Survey Corps and Eren returned to Paradis, the Survey Corps arrested Eren and treated him as a criminal and traitor, and his friends started to doubt his true intentions. For them, Eren is a new person. They cannot understand him, even Armin and Mikasa. Eren revealed his true intentions to them after he activated the rumbling. Eren intends to kill all life outside the island. Unfortunately for him, his friends decide to stop him and save the world instead. Eren may have started the rumbling for his friends and to save his home, but those motivations were never enough to finish it. We saw the aftermath of his choices in chapter 139. Eren again chose to entrust to his comrades, especially Armin, the future of the rest of humanity. Eren again was choosing the easy path. The memories he saw also affected his decision-making and actions. He thought he walked in a predetermined future set in stone, so he decided to close his eyes to the consequences of killing 80% of the population and entrust Armin to save the rest of humanity. But as the extract 8 pages showed, Armin did not ensure lasting peace in Paradis. B2 planes carpet bombed and destroyed the island years in the future, and the curse of Ymir still exists. The cycle repeats. The second flaw of Eren is that he has no personal and tangible goal. He doesn't have something or someone that can help him move forward. Throughout the series, Eren asks his friends and enemies one question. What are they fighting for? For Mikasa, she was able to fight because the world is cruel and they have no choice. But she has Eren, something she is willing to protect. For Annie, she's ready to massacre many people if it means coming home to her father. He asks the female characters for personal goals, and they answered that they had something or someone they needed to protect or wait for them. He also indirectly asked the same question to Reiner during their encounter in Liberio. Eren asked Reiner his motivations and what he was fighting for when he destroyed the walls that day. And this goes back to my point earlier. Eren misunderstood Reiner's motivation and what kept Reiner moving forward. Eren thought it was because of Reiner's environment, that it was his upbringing that made him push through the mission. Eren didn't realize this even when Reiner pathetically knelt and told him his true motivation: to be a hero and gain respect. Reiner had a personal goal. You see, Eren and Reiner are mirrors of each other. They were both forced to do atrocious things by their environment, but what makes Reiner different from Eren is that Reiner is willing to own up to the consequences of his actions. Meanwhile, Eren is not willing to do that, as we have seen at the end of the manga. That's why Eren said he was worse than Reiner in chapter 131. Reiner concluded in chapter 133 that they need to stop Eren because Eren cannot endure the guilt and consequences of slaughtering humanity. But what made Reiner live through the guilt he had done 9 years ago? What kept him moving forward? We saw him struggle. He wanted to kill himself to end his suffering, but he didn't because he had someone or something to protect. Reiner has something or someone to live for. He still has Falco and Gabi to help him live. So what was Eren fighting for if he failed at the end of the story? Eren's initial goal at the start was to exterminate all Titans. But we see that this goal changed the moment they reached the basement. We can also say that Eren's desire is freedom. But as we have established earlier, he was disappointed instead of happy once he learned the truth about the walls and become not ignorant. What he initially thought was freedom shattered upon knowing that beyond the ocean are enemies. His core belief disintegrated. I believe Eren reaching the ocean was the point where Eren started to lose his resolve to fight. He chose to attack Liberio and activated the rumbling because his environment just pushed him. He didn't choose to leap into this hell and move forward. He may have an ultimate and long-term goal to protect his home, but as we saw at the end, only having that as a goal was never enough to finish what he started. He was lacking a personal and tangible goal, something or someone that he needed to protect, something or someone that would motivate him to move forward. You may argue that Eren wanting his friends to live long lives are his personal goal, but this isn't tangible. Sasha and Hanji died, and even his friends were willing to betray and kill him. You may also argue that his personal goal is freedom, but we saw his core belief shattered when he reached the ocean. He was disappointed upon learning the truth. And if Eren meant that freedom means eradicating all enemies, why didn't he finish what he started? It's because these are all big and ideological goals. These goals are not personal and tangible. So, when did Eren finally lose his will to fight and move forward? When he closed his eyes in chapter 131, he eventually resigned and lost his resolve. If you have reached this part of the video, you might have noticed that my points about Eren's character journey are precisely parallel to Takeru's character journey because they are indeed the same. Both of their character arcs are about moving forward. Their stories are about accepting responsibility and the results of their choices and having a personal and tangible goal to move forward. You see, Isayama was deeply inspired to write Attack on Titan because of Muv Luv Alternative, and it's not just because of its basic premise of a world invaded by aliens, but also because of its story and message. Isayama was a teen when he played Muv Luv Alternative. This game's target audience was their generation. I believe Isayama wrote Attack on Titan because he wanted to share the same story with our generation. Now you're wondering, if Muv Luv Alternative truly inspired Isayama, why did he let his main character fail? Why didn't he copy the ending of Muv Luv Alternative where the main character achieved his goals? Why did Isayama go through lengths to betray his readers? I may have an answer to that, and this might sound crazy at first, but it makes total sense. And that is, he is setting up an anime original ending. Part 5. Eren's journey to become a man. AOE and his chance to grow his resolve.
Kill the boy and let the man be born.
At this moment, you might already think of me as insane because of what I am trying to propose. Still, this video is not just a character analysis video, but a video to bring hopium to those who were disappointed by the ending. In this section, I am not going to prove AOE through detailed evidence in the manga and anime because there are a lot of theories about it, which I will link in the description below. In this section, I will prove why AOE inevitably will happen in the story and thematic perspective. My first evidence is the story and the game mechanics of Muv Luv itself. If you have been listening carefully, Muv Luv Alternative is the sequel to the Muv Luv game. To recap, Muv Luv is a visual novel game where there are multiple endings. Well, a total of 12 routes or endings. Each route or ending is one timeline where Takeru chooses one of the girls in the story. At the end of every route in Muv Luv Unlimited, the same events happen. The UN expedited the Alternative 5 plan, and the Alternative 4 plan failed. Takeru and his squadmates were assigned to escort the people selected to evacuate to a new habitable planet as they would be humanity's remaining survivors. The plan then is to bomb the beta hives around the world. But the bombing of that hives was also a failure because they didn't successfully eradicate the beta. One of the route implies that Takeru died at some point. Takeru failed and achieved nothing. It was only in Muv Luv Alternative, the sequel, where Takeru had a second chance to make things right by starting again. It is the 13th and final route in the series. So how does this connect to Attack on Titan having an anime original ending? Attack on Titan's story, believe it or not, is structured like a visual novel, where the story has multiple endings and the manga is just one timeline that sets up the following timeline, the anime. Eren failed in the manga, and given that the game Isayama played when he was a teen heavily influenced his story, I don't see why he won't do the same thing, where Eren gets a second chance and finally succeeds in the story. If you are still not convinced, my second evidence is in the narrative structure of Attack on Titan itself. I came across a video by Savage Books entitled Eren Jaeger and the Insanity of Circular Storytelling. In his video, he explained that circular storytelling is where a story ends right back where it begins. The characters and the world may change, but the story concludes in a position similar to where it started. In his video, he explained that seasons 1 to 3 or chapters 1 to 90 of the manga served as the prologue or first act of the series, where in the story structure, there is an introduction, midpoint, and climax and resolution. The first 90 chapters set up the next part of the series. Seasons 4, parts 1 to 3, or chapters 91 to 139 is the second act of the series, where it also has a familiar story structure, an introduction to the new world of Marley, a midpoint, and a climax and resolution. If you look at the story of Attack on Titan, the first act served as a setup for the real story, which is the second act, where the story's beginning is structured similarly to how it ends. Amazing, right? It's like the story of Attack on Titan is a loop or a cycle. But one point I disagreed with this video was Eren being a slave to his future memories. I can't blame him though, maybe because he is an anime only. And Isayama's world building made the mechanics of the attack and founding Titan seem like memories of the future controlled Eren's actions. Everything seemed deterministic and there was no free will. But I have a different interpretation of how memories work in Attack on Titan and what is the true power of the Attack Titan. It's a theory I made based on, you guessed it, Muv Luv Alternative. I will link that theory in the description box if you're interested in reading it. Let's go back to the point where the story of Attack on Titan is a cycle or a loop. Muv Luv and Muv Luv Alternative also have a similar story structure, where Muv Luv, both extra and unlimited, served as Act 1 or set up to the actual story, while Muv Luv Alternative served as Act 2 or the payoff of the story. Now, one of the narratives or themes in Muv Luv Alternative is Takeru breaking free from what caused him to be the causality conductor, a time-space anomaly that caused him to loop back to the start of the story every time he dies. And since this story inspired Isayama, it doesn't make narrative sense that it would betray the themes of Muv Luv Alternative and end his story where the protagonist achieved nothing, and in a cyclical loop he is still stuck. The manga's ending is like how Muv Luv Unlimited ended. That's why I believe that Attack on Titan manga is just a setup to the actual story, which is the Attack on Titan anime. We, the anime and manga fans, are fed with two interconnected stories. I know what I am proposing is the opposite of the popular interpretations of the story, where they believe that the Attack on Titan's timeline is a fixed one. The future is unchangeable and the past has already determined the end, like in a bootstrap paradox. Still, they failed to realize that there is another type of time travel rule in fiction, the do-over timeline or the Groundhog Day timeline, on which, you guessed it again, Muv Luv Alternative also based its rules. That's why I believe AOT uses the same rule where every time Eren dies, he loops back from the beginning of the series And in the anime, which is the final loop, Eren finally learns from his mistakes from the manga and will succeed. Speaking of learning from his mistakes, how will Eren finally have the chance to grow his resolve? Firstly, he needs to be able to control the attack and founding Titan's power through memories.
この鍵をずっと肌身離さず持っているんだ。そして見るたびに思い出せ。お前が地下室に行かなくてはならないことを。この注射のせいで今からお前に記憶障害が起こる。だから、今説明してもダメなんだ。いいか。使い方は彼らの記憶が教えてくれるだろう。エレン！いつか地下室に行けば真実がわかる。辛く厳しい道のりだが、必ずたどり着くんだ。ミカサやアルミン、みんなを救いたいなら、お前はこの力を支配しなくてはならない。
These are the last words Grisha said to Eren before he injected him with Titan Serum. The key to Eren's success is for him to be able to learn from the memories of the previous attack Titans, which also includes him. Since I proposed that the world of Attack on Titan is a time loop like in Groundhog Day, Eren will need to learn from the memories of those Attack Titan that came before him and his memories from the previous timelines. Eren learning from his mistakes through memories also has a thematic relevance to the concept of freedom in the series. Zeke commented on the Paradisian people while playing his baseball game against them. The Paradisians didn't learn anything from their past because the king erased their memories of the world. As a result, they commit the same mistakes repeatedly because they are ignorant. The king forcibly took their freedom to know the world's truth. And as the Attack Titan is the counter to the first king's ideology, Eren learning from his previous mistakes through his memories will help him move forward and finally achieve his desire for freedom. Second, of course, he must be able to accept the results of his choices and not give the burden of responsibility to his comrades. In short, he must choose the difficult path. I won't repeat why it is essential for his character to move forward, but I will just show clips of some notable changes from the anime that Eren somehow has learned from his past mistakes.
何も捨てることができない人に、何も変えることはできない。
わかってる。俺はそこに、仲間や、その絆にすがって失敗した。思い出せ。してやる。いや、殺す。正しいかどうかなんて考えてる暇はない。とにかく動け。綺麗事で終わろうとすんな。そう。ミカサ！世界は残酷なんだ。どこからが始まりだろう。あそこか。いや、どこでもいい。すべては俺が望んだこと。すべては、この先にある。
Lastly, Eren needs to have a personal and tangible goal, something or someone that will help him move forward. I believe the story already wrote the solution to this. And the answer is in the memories Eren received from the two previous Attack Titans.
家庭を持て。は？
壁の中に入ったら初体を持つんだ。
何を言ってる。俺にはダイナがいる。それにそんなことを言われても、巨人になる直前の記憶はなくなるんだろ。
そうとも限らん。後で誰かが見てるかもしれん。妻でも子供でも町の人でもいい。壁の中で人を愛せ。それができなければ繰り返すだけだ。同じ歴史を、同じ過ちを、何度も。ミカサやアルミ。みんなを救いたいなら使命を全うしろ。
ミカサ？アルミ？誰のことだ？
さあ、わからない。誰の記憶だろう。
Yes, Eren needs to love someone inside the walls, whether a wife, a child, or someone from the city. If Eren can love someone, the cycle will finally break. I know this is a controversial statement, but the pregnancy arc is not something Isayama hastily written and without purpose and payoff. Many believe the pregnancy was nothing but a red herring, but I think it has a narrative purpose. Yes, he may have subverted our expectations with the ending, but it was all to show Eren's failure to set up his success in the anime. Remember, I said Eren may have started the rumbling because he wanted to save his home and his friends, but it wasn't enough to finish what he started, because these are all big and ideological goals. His ability to complete the rumbling because he has a child to protect makes perfect sense because he now has a personal reason to fight. He has something tangible to love and care for and will motivate him to keep living and move forward even after he has done something unforgivable. Remember Eren's mirror, Reiner, and how he could live through the guilt and move forward because he had someone to live for? Falco and Gabi? I think the same will happen to Eren as he completes his arc. I believe this is the thematic importance of what the Akatsuki no Requiem or ANR ending is about. Many people have misinterpreted its meaning because they understand it's all about Eren's returning to his blonde waifu after killing the outside world. And speaking of the blonde waifu, I would like to briefly talk about the importance of Historia as Eren's confidant, which also has something to do with Muv Luv Alternative. In the story, after their successful mission at Sadogashina, Takeru was promoted to Flight Commander or Storm Vanguard 1. Takeru is now second in command of the squad. During the celebration, Lieutenant Munataka and Takeru discussed the importance of his new role. She said that his position was for the best pilot in their squad. She then asked him to show their squad mates that he is a headstrong and self-assured flight commander, even if it is just a persona he needs to play. He needs to support Lieutenant Hayase, their new squad leader, as she helped their captain who died during that mission. Munataka is confident that Takeru could fill the role because Takeru already understands himself as an individual. He has taken the first step on the road to psychological independence. Those who have established their sense of self can grow and refine themselves to maturity. Someone upfront with themselves can handle the responsibility of looking after their subordinates. But Takeru asks her, what if he feels that he is straying down the wrong path? And this is what Lieutenant Munataka told him.
その時大切なのは、自分を理解してくれる人間だよ。貴様を理解してさえいれば、誰でもいい。付き合いの長さや深さ、年齢性別は一切関係ない。貴様の弱音に耳を傾け、必要な時に苦言を呈し、道を誤れば躊躇なく殴り倒してくれるような人間であれば誰でもいいんだ。そうだな。尊い存在と言うべきか。まあそうだが、早瀬注意だって貴様を認めたんだ。それで十分だろ。
Relating this to Attack on Titan, I believe this is where the importance of the idea of loving someone inside the walls come from. When Eren wallows in self-doubt, he needs someone who truly understands and knows him from the inside, who will listen to and give honest advice when he needs it most, and would even smack some sense to him when he screws up. I believe the two closest to him, Armin and Mikasa, don't fit that role. Those two don't understand who Eren is. It is Historia who is Eren's guiding light. That's why Eren meeting Historia in secret and him sharing all his plans with her makes sense because Historia is Eren's confidant. That's why Historia and the child arc is not pointless because of its narrative importance in Eren's character development. Historia and the child are the tangible goals he needs to move forward. In summary, this section discusses what Eren needed to grow his resolve. Firstly, he needs to be able to control the attack and founding Titan's powers through his memories. Through his memories, he must be able to accept his mistakes from his previous choices, learn from them, and choose the difficult path by believing in himself. Lastly, he needs to have a personal and tangible goal, someone to fight for, someone he needs to protect, that is, by loving someone inside the walls. I wanted to end this long video with excerpts from Isayama's interview. In the interview with Isayama, the interviewer asked him, what is his ideal character? He answered that his ideal character is someone who doesn't lie. To lie is to distort the will that the character would have had depending on the story's convenience. He added, I think that the charm resides in characters who move by their own will or go against the world in a metafictional sense. Conversely, I think that characters who have become puppets of the story are not attractive. Often, the protagonist tends to neglect his will due to the story's convenience. So I am often attracted to the characters in their contrasting positions. I firmly believe Isayama's story of Attack on Titan is a journey towards his ideal character. The manga showed us a story of a protagonist who has become a puppet of the story, a protagonist who let his environment dictate his choices. I believe the anime will be the story of that same protagonist who will not distort his will and will choose to put himself into hell and keep moving forward. Thank you so much for watching my video and listening to my very long discussion about a story that is very dear to my heart. Attack on Titan has been a significant part of my adulthood. It's my first anime. Without it, I would not have appreciated this medium. Part of the charm of the story and the reason why I kept on reading is about the development of Eren's character. Isayama has put his characters into challenging environments that test their morals and resolve. I think that's part of the charm as to why Attack on Titan is considered one of the greatest pieces of literature. And even though Isayama has genuinely succeeded in betraying his readers, I believe he made a story that will remain in my heart for a long time. I would also like to thank Isayama, for without him making this manga, I would not have jumped into this rabbit hole and researched about this topic. I would also like to thank him for introducing me to one of the best visual novels out there, Muv Luv Alternative. I moved forward in making this video because of Yoshimune's message about why he created Muv Luv Alternative. Many of us in our generation have been overwhelmed by the challenges surrounding us. Many wanted to quit and not continue living. But the story of Attack on Titan and Muv Luv Alternative proves that one can overcome those challenges. It doesn't matter if our environment has been the obstacle preventing us from achieving our goal. What is essential is for us to believe in ourselves, accept the results of our choices, and keep moving forward. Again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. Subscribe to my channel if you want more of these videos. And as a final word, I would like to share an excerpt of Yoshimune's interview about the theme of Muv Luv Alternative.
はい、ということでね、
はい。
海外のユーザーさんからいただいた質問もね、ご紹介していきたいと思いますので、アダムお願いします。
はい。まずは、プロストーリアさんからの質問ですね。そこで、吉宗さんに質問です。
はい。
マブラブのメッセージは何ですか？
ということでね、マブラブのメッセージは何ですかって言われてもな、まあ、メッセージはいっぱいあるんだよ。一番端的なもので言ったら、人生っていうのは選択と決断で、その結果を受け止めて、受け入れて、それは受け入れるって何かっていうと、反省するとかそういうことじゃない。とにかく、ありのままのものとして受け止めるだけ。ね、評価っていうのは、自分の成長や時代で変わるから、いいことか悪いことも全部真正面から受け止めて、また前に進む。これを繰り返せっていうことを、僕はとにかく、言ってるつもりです。タケルはそれを繰り返してますね、実際。で、何度でも立ち上がってるじゃないですか。それを受け止めて、じゃあ自分はどうなんだって自分の手で調べて、ね、人のあれじゃなくて、ね、人の価値観とかじゃなくて、自分で結論を持って、で、前に進むっていうことを当時の若者にやってほしかった。頑張れって言えなかったから、そういう世界構造も全部突きつけたわけで。だからまあ、基本はさっき言った、自己選択、自己決断。で、それを結果を、選択、受け入れると。で、前に進む。これを繰り返せと。いちいち立ち止まって判断したら良かったのか悪かったなんて言ってる暇ねえんだよって話じゃない。そのうちおのずと結果出るから。だって、まあよく言うけど、きつかったこと、辛かったこと、嫌だったことも、それを経験したおかげで、その後に起こったことを乗り越えられたり、ね、あ、こうだったんだなと思えたとしたら、それは昔あった悪いこと、きついこと、ネガティブなことは、プラスだったってなるわけ、その時。でも、この時の評価を確定させちゃった、あれは悪いことだったんだってずっとやっちゃったら、もうそれにとらわれて生きることになるからね。前向いていこう。looking forward.